Welcome to the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, where every week we're interviewing small business owners themselves that support the small business community because we need all the help we can get in small business. We're not going to figure it all out on our own. And if you think you're going to figure it all out on your own, well, you're in the right spot because you're wrong. We're going to figure it out today. And we have found a unique guest today who has got a great history in marketing and wants to say this is too many incredible organizations don't have the marketing they need to grow. And so our guests deliver strategy and content that derive measurable results. And I want to welcome Amanda Garcia, who's the founder and CEO of Color Word Creative, to the show. Amanda, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jason. Thanks so much for having me. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Can you give us a little bit about we gave the infamous one-liner at the
Mhm.
beginning there of yours, but let's dive into a little bit more detail about like what is your business and the problems that you're solving for your clients. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. I Most of our clients come to us asking questions like, "How am I supposed to get more leads?" or "Why isn't my website converting?" Um, "How do I niche down or how do I expand?" And "Where do I find a better audience?" And we work through those challenges with our clients first by starting with understanding their audience, by developing clear, crystal clear messaging that is irresistible to their ideal client, and then implementing it in ways and in places where they will reach their ideal client. That's a in a nutshell.
When you've been at this for a bit. It's been you started your business 11 years ago and it's obviously in marketing everything has evolved. But when you started it and you jumped in, what was the inspiration behind founding your business?
Well, that's a great question. And the business was founded. Wow, I can't believe it's been this long, but it was 2016. So not quite 11 years. It will be in next year will be 10 years, which is amazing to me. I'm so humbled by that. The inspiration, I have a degree in communications, a master's in business, and I actually worked at a nonprofit that had international ministries in various places, and as well as national volunteer programs. Is cool stories to tell, and it was my job to tell the stories as an associate director of development. As many of your listeners know, I'm sure fundraising is just marketing for nonprofits. And so that's where I started on this journey. And I've always loved storytelling. And I believe that if you ask the right questions, everybody's got an interesting story to tell. And I enjoyed that work and found a lot of meaning in it, especially in the direct result of being able to raise money to further excellent causes. But after several years of it, the cyclical nature of it, frankly, I just got a little bored and I wanted to tell other people's stories. I wanted to see what else we could do with storytelling. And I didn't necessarily want to stay, I didn't want to tell one story for the rest of my career. I wanted to see what else was out there. And so that is when I left there to start Color Word Creative. And I was literally only storytelling at the beginning because I was mostly freelance writing for a publication house in Chicago. And it was fascinating because, like you, being able to interview your interesting guests, I was interviewing C-suite leaders across industries from all over the place, and I learned so much. It was fascinating, and I thought there's endless amounts of stories to tell, and there are so many incredible small businesses, mid-sized businesses, that could use a little help in this area, and I find so much meaning in that. I love it. I know that every day when I come to work and do my job in my house, we work from home, but every day when I come to my office in my house to do my job, I know that I'm helping our local economy. I am helping small business owners who are passionate about what they do, make payroll and make their dreams come true. I find it to be incredibly meaningful. So that's background, I guess, stories. It always comes back to stories.
Yeah, that is amazing and totally resonate with you get it gets monotonous, right?
Yeah.
Monotony for creatives is like a jail, right? You just can't get out of you're stuck and you're like, I want to get out and breaking out. And what better way than to get into marketing and be able to go learn and tell other people's stories as business those business owners and help them understand how to tell their story. What would you say has been the key? Like, it's your 9 years going on 10 in the business. What has been some of the, keys to the success that you have seen in your business?
Yeah, that's also a good question. I can name several key moments along the way. Like there was the the summer that I read Profit First, and that budgeting system was incredible because it was the first time I was able to add myself to payroll. I became a StoryBrand certified guide for I was a guide for a couple of years. That decision was really important and really good for my business at the time. Um, Hiring certain people along the way, getting crystal clear on our offerings, prices, process. But I think the overarching thing that has been the key is that we maybe it's this problem that I have of getting bored. As my team, I drive them crazy. We are constantly in growth and learning mode. And my whole team is that way. That everybody wants to learn all the time. No one is ever content with the status quo, which can be exhausting. And we have to work at slowing down and creating boundaries and intentional rest. But I do think that overarching thing through for all of these years, which is not that many in the grand scheme of things, but it has been consistent through every year where we are not the same business than we were a year ago or the year before that. We just, I feel like the first half, even of our time in business, was kind of an incubation stage. And then, in 2021 and 22, ramped it up. And every time every time I read a book, I apply what I learn, and this drives my team crazy too, and I've had to put restraints on, like, "Hold on, we need to stick with something for a while, make sure it works before we go and change everything." But I think that insatiable desire to learn and to, implement and to constantly be the best marketers that we can be, that energy, while exhausting, is probably one of the keys to the reason that we've made it this far.
I wanna point out a couple of big key elements in there for the listeners and the one of them is, if you heard Amanda say she read Profit First, and the author's Michael Michalowicz on that, if you and I'll link that one because it's a pretty key book to read if you're a business owner. Profit First allowed her to start paying herself, and so if you're a business owner listening and you don't give yourself a paycheck or an appropriate paycheck for what you are doing, because that's what we find in business, or is business owners seem to be the lowest paid of the employee. Like they say, well, I'm the CEO and the janitor, but you're making janitor wages. Like that's not a good idea. So we want to figure out how to do that. Profit First will help you go down that road. But the other side of it is it resonates so well. You can ask my former team and the last company that I sold. I had the same problem. I would read a book, come in, and they're like, "Oh, great. Like, what are we doing now?" But my company, required reading when you came into the company was Who Moved My Cheese? Because the cheese is always moving. And that trained an adaptive personality, and that those people, you said you have people that enjoy that, which is also key.
Yes.
The last key point is having people that hold true to your core values, because that is part of your core
Mm,
of that adaptation and being willing to try new things and go and whatnot. And I, well, a worship leader at a church I attended for a while was commented one day. He said, "The hardest thing to do is to do the opposite of what you're passionate about."
mm,
And the example was, uh, she's very lively and loved to be outgoing, but be able to her uncomfortableness was actually to be quiet and to hold still. And so doing that opposite thing, like you said, is like we're creative, we're driving, we're driving. Now, how do we hold back? How do we how do we say, okay, wait, is this actually working? And put the metrics around it to try it. So it's been extremely valuable information and insight of that. What would you say is a project or initiative here recently that is um, recharged you or given you a spark that you may whether or not the spark was is always there because I've had conversations where I'm always just excited to go to work, but sometimes there's a project that you've worked on recently that's like, this is why I'm in this business. Tell us a little bit about a project like that.
Oh, like a client project
Yeah.
or
You don't
like
have to
an
be
internal
specific on who
project?
the client is, but a client project, something you worked on that was like, this is exactly why I'm in this business.
Yeah, well, probably the most compelling is from another nonprofit. We have a mix of nonprofit and for-profit clients, and um, uh, this past holiday season, we had an incredibly successful year-end campaign for our local food pantry. We tried some things we hadn't done before. You know, we've been working with them since almost day one. So as we have improved, their fundraising efforts have improved too, or their fundraising communication has improved. But we get tired of doing the same things over and over, and marketing changes all the time. So how can we mix things up? What are some things we haven't tried before? And we just absolutely blew our fundraising goal out of the water this past quarter. And it was so gratifying to see the grassroots donors responding to our efforts and to see the larger donors, to see the matching gifts. We had matching gifts and that's to the credit of the executive director and director of development at that nonprofit because of the relationships they've built, but to be able to support those relationships. And I'll tell you, here's a fun tip. If you have any nonprofits out there, an incredibly effective thing that we saw work that we'd never done before was to add a calendar invite for Giving Tuesday to our marketing material, our fundraising material. So people could click a link to add it to their calendar, which meant their phone reminded them to donate on Giving Tuesday. It was incredible. It was awesome. We also have been playing around with raffle donations, which is fun. We get donated items, but nice. So we had a week getaway at a cabin in the woods in Michigan, and to have um, everyone who donated was entered into a drawing to win that. And that was because it was donated, it was just another revenue stream for this campaign. So these multiple streams that came together in this beautiful way. That's so gratifying to know that we're supporting people who are hungry or food insecure in our community. Absolutely. So meaningful. But if you want a for-profit answer, we work with a manufacturing company who has developed patented material for fully compostable, biodegradable, recyclable beverage packing rings. So instead of a plastic six pack, they have made these fully sustainable packaging options. And their target audience is microbreweries or mostly breweries that have a mid not a huge one, but enough to do some retail, and that is so meaningful, and developing those campaigns around sustainable packaging has just been so fun. It's just been so fun, and to see that tiny business, which was really the brainchild of the owner of a bigger business, so they're, like, starting this new thing and watching them invest in developing their messaging and understanding their audience and then implementing it, like, to come in and walk them through this journey, and then to have it be growing. I mean, it's just so fun when we set up a website and put up a lead generator, and then you get the leads and the sales team is getting calls. That's so gratifying. So I that's those are projects. I do get excited pretty much every day, but those are 2 that come to mind that are pretty fun.
Well, that's awesome because both have their impacts in the world, positive impacts in the world as we know it
Yeah.
today. And there's a thing in there with the calendar reminder because so many small business owners forget that their money is in the follow up.
Mm.
right? And that's what that calendar reminder was. It was an automated
Yes,
follow-up
it
that
was.
reminded them because
Yes.
we as humans are busy and we're gonna forget. I guarantee. I forget half the time. I think I was supposed to do something this morning and I forgot by the time I have to walk outside and around to my home office. Um, the but by the time I get up to my office, I've crossed through 2 doorways. If you've ever opened your laptop ready to grow your business and 2 hours later closed it, realizing you've gotten nothing done, but you've researched office chairs, you've ordered lunch, and you've planned out the next 3 dinners, all the things that you wouldn't typically do to work on your business. Yeah, I've done that too. I'm Jason Pond. I'm the host of the Small Business Breakthrough Podcast, and I want you to achieve your breakthrough. But we do that through the community I built. I built the Momentum Community. The Momentum Community is a place where we meet every week. We talk about your goals, where you want to get with your business, and then we track them. And we use the Momentum dashboard to do that. We make sure you're moving forward every week, and it's accountability like you've never seen in a community forum. I want you to be part of that community. If you want to learn more about it, check out the link in the description below and enjoy the rest of the episode. Looking at the future, right? So you've
Mhm.
had some history in marketing. You come from correspondence. You've got the understanding of communication in the MBA. And it's an ever-changing world. The last 4
Yes.
years have been crazy, and the last 2 even crazier with technology changes and everything
Mhm.
else.
Mhm.
What do you see the next 2 years, and how do you see the industry evolving, and what are you doing to take advantage of it?
Mm. Well, that's of course a good question, and I do not at all claim to have any kind of crystal ball. Um, I am constantly afraid of becoming irrelevant, and so I read and listen to as much as I can to try and stay on top of it. But we can only do our best to guess. You're probably tired of hearing this, but it's a fact that artificial intelligence is changing everything about it's just a major disruptor in so many different industries. And of course, marketing is one of those. And for a long time, the conversation was a lot of fear around AI. And I still have dear friends who are copywriters who would um, they so many people I think of AI as a copywriter, and that fear around it, or the misunderstanding of it is problematic. Um, so 2 things in regard to AI, and I'm sorry if this is repetitive and people have already said this on your show. But I think being able to use, especially as a small business, we have a small team. So being able to use AI, not as copywriting, but as everyday tools to manage the menial tasks that doesn't require a degree to do or even a human to do, great. I want to use as many of those as possible. I want to use Superhuman to manage my email. I want to use beautiful AI to develop slideshows. I want to use Gemini to take automatic notes and transcripts, bullet point them for me. I want to use these tools to make sure that I don't get stuck in things like follow up because there's so much value in the follow up and in the implementation. So if I can build a process that includes a tool that automates my follow up, give it to me. I want that. Like we have to stay on top of these on top of these tools and use them so that we can spend more and more time doing what we actually make the money doing. Um, and from a marketing perspective, there are some specific marketing AI tools that I pay good money to use, not to replace me, but to it can never understand my clients the way that I do, but I do enjoy the tool for organization, for getting started. Like if you're the type of person who doesn't do well with a blank sheet of paper, but does well with something you can get in there and change, perfect. That's great. That's what AI is for. So using the tools on the absolute flip side, I think it is imperative that we lean into our humanness because as digitized and as siloed and as um, artificial the intelligence becomes, I think the pendulum will swing the other way. At least this is what I'm choosing to believe. And people will gravitate more and more to the humanness of whatever they can get their hands on. So I think that means investing in things like community, local community, or online communities. I think it means investing in relationship with clients. Um, for example, I have a phenomenal SEO partner, and he's developing an AI tool to answer the phones. I know a lot of people are doing that. I think it's great for some people, but I'm never going to want to use that because I really think it's important to answer the phone. Because my relationships, my business is built on relationships. So the more that we can infuse community and human touch into our work, the more powerful it will be now, of course, but in the future. So it's both. It is use AI as much as you can to save time, become more efficient, increase your margins, make your people more efficient, buy a tool instead of hire a person. Absolutely. And if a computer can do it better than a person, have them do it. Uh, and at the same time, grasp on with all of your might to your own humanity and remember that the people you interact with every day are humans as well. And we all have hearts and histories and walking into the day with who knows what kind of baggage, and to extend that kind of empathy in every interaction, and what we deliver for people requires that we are held to a higher standard of quality. And so then AI can certainly never replace that. The more human a thing is, the less likely it is that AI is going to impact that. So that's a long-winded
Yes.
response, but
That's great because it tied two sides of the spectrum, which is one of the most unique approaches that I've heard as an answer to that question because the humanness, as you put it, is one of those things that getting in a community and making sure that you have real connection with people, especially for introverts out there
mhm,
that just want to and it's so easy because you can do even in rural I'm in a rural area of Montana. We don't have things like Uber Eats where we're at.
mm,
I still have to order if I want to order pizza, which is rare, we have to go the old school route, the Domino's route, right? And but this in a lot of areas, you don't have to leave your house for anything. Like,
no,
you can just stay as a hermit,
yes,
and that does not serve how we were built as humans. It's
mm,
a because we are a herding creature, like, we are, that's how we were built. So, and it's to work together, and you get so much impact out of it. If at a minimum, you can be virtual, but getting it into some sort of a, community where you can go sit down and break bread with people, that is, even more powerful for the psychological benefits of being around others and
yes.
helping the world become a better place as much as we can. Um, it's been a great conversation. The amount of nuggets that are inside of this has been extremely valuable. Encourage
Good.
listeners to go back and listen to some of those nuggets that are inside of there. But for right now, let's jump into our lightning round and wrap
Oh
things
boy,
up.
I'm scared about this. Okay.
You don't have to be. There's a one question that always gets everybody, but we'll see how you handle it. It's not the
Okay.
first one though. First one is
All right.
simple.
Okay.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, both. Every
Both.
morning I drink 20 ounces of a ginger turmeric tea, and then I switch to coffee.
Oh,
After
it's tea first, then coffee. Okay.
yes,
That
yes,
awesome.
yes. I try to not do caffeine until after food. Yeah.
How about cats or dogs?
Also both. I fell in love with a cat, but she died several years ago, and now we have a dog, and I love him too. Well, sorry.
Okay. Here we go. If you could grab only one weapon or item during a zombie apocalypse, what would it be?
Yikes. I mean, isn't that your phone?
That's up to
Probably.
you. Like, okay, there we go. Phone.
Yeah.
How about a favorite quote or phrase that you think about often?
This is just one that popped into my head. It's not famous. It was said by a friend of mine in a board meeting one time. It was a tough one. And not my board, but I was serving on a board, nonprofit board with him. His name is Melvin Amerson. And he said, um, you know what? I wrote it on my bulletin board. Can I grab it?
Yeah.
Okay. He said, this was years ago. God puts fruit where there isn't a line item. And I absolutely love that. Like he just said that. And it was a financially challenging conversation. But the idea that there can be something beautiful that we never expected where we didn't draw that in the budget gives me so much. He's right. It's just
Yeah.
true. It resonates with me. Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's my
One
buddy
book
out
that
Melvin.
yeah, that
What?
is very beautiful. How about
Yeah.
one book that has influenced your life the most?
One? Are you kidding? One? There are
I know
like
you're this is gonna be a hard one for you.
yeah. I mean, the have influenced my life, have influenced my work. Um, like, can I give you a couple from the last year that I would think
If you
everyone should read? Or you want me to
we'll
pick
go
one?
no, well, I'll let you have 2, but that's I gotta draw the line
Ah,
somewhere.
all right. I think, well, you're right. I guess I already mentioned two. It's hard to pick. I'll just, in the last year, I read Who Not How, which is very simple, and was definitely changed the way that I work. It's really good. Um, yeah, okay. And then personal, in the last few weeks, I read a book called Woman Code. And if you have any female leaders out there, or just females at all, that one has influenced my life a lot in the last month. So that's a very recent one. It's a good one by
Okay.
Elisa Vitti. Yeah.
Yeah. That is, Who Not How is a great one, Dr.
Yep.
Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan, and,
Yes.
the,
Also, Gap in the Gain. Got to read Gap in the Gain. Also,
yep.
10x is easier than 2x. Look at me. I'm squeezing them in.
Gap and Gain is right, let's see, try to get the picture. It's right out
Is it
there,
there?
right there. It's a yeah, can't get the figure right, but it's prevalent in the background here. The other 2 I read digitally, so, um, the, all of their books are fantastic,
Yeah, they
and
are.
then Woman Code is there. So how about for the last lightning round question, this one, um, biggest obstacle that you have had to overcome and one lesson that you have learned from it?
In my career,
Uh,
biggest?
biggest
There've been so
obstacle,
many, so
whether
many.
it's the one that stands out the most, whether it's in life or career, doesn't matter.
Biggest obstacle, and what was the second part?
The lesson you learned from it.
Lesson. Would you like a story? uh, um, I'll just tell you a story about a time that was an obstacle. I don't know if it was the biggest one, but it was certainly an obstacle. In 2020, you might remember there was a thing that happened that was a global pandemic. And uh, I was a small business AMA, what at the time, a small business owner in the pre-incubation stage. So, or no, in the incubation stage where it was like, what are we doing? Where are we going? How are we making money? And I had also, I had my team is partially local, partially not, and we were trying to get clear on what are we doing, where are we going, how much do we charge, how do we make money, is this sustainable? And then the pandemic hit, and I was 8 months pregnant with my firstborn. My husband got laid off because of the pandemic. That meant we didn't have any health insurance right before the baby was born. And I had clients freaking out and didn't know what to do there. So in that obstacle, we Colorword Creative offered, like, I had wide 30 days. Like, I had to get it together and make some decisions and do something fast. And so we opened up a healthcare plan, and so I could have health insurance, have a baby, and we lived that year without knowing, like, what was gonna happen and when my husband was gonna get another job and when the workforce was gonna open up, and are we gonna be able to survive this, and can my small business make enough money, with unemployment, like all of this unknown, always unknown. And then we finally started to settle into something that felt a little bit normal, sleepless nights and you're just like manic, exhausted with first baby. And then no help because pandemic, we didn't have that community. Um, and then I thought we were like coming up the other side. And then I got pregnant again, and then it was an accident. And then my creative director resigned. And then that was faced with a moment of, is this even viable? Is this thing that we've been trying to build even worth it? Like, should I just quit and go get another job and like something that's less stressful or something that is like more stable? I don't know. It probably comes back to that fruit where there isn't a line item thing because we decided to take a couple leaps of faith. And made a random phone call to uh, a friend from college who ended up quitting her job and coming and joining our team as our new creative director. I did my story brand certification. That was a huge leap of faith and scary at the time. We landed a big client in a range that we had never before, and it had paid off. So I guess the struggle? I've just painted this picture of a struggle for you. That was just awful. Um, I think the thing is that there's always some kind of struggle, like that never ever ends. Every day there's a struggle. This week, both my kids were sick and home 3 days, and my oven went out, and I haven't been able to even make a frozen pizza. It's been like every day there's some kind of struggle. And I think the lesson to learn from that I keep having to learn every day, every week, is that we can only plan as much as we can plan, and we can't hold too tightly to those plans. And we can do our best to learn and read and stay ahead and try our best to become and stay relevant. But you never know when there might be a pandemic. And so to hold the future loosely and to hold your values and loved ones tightly and to someone just said this to me yesterday, turn up the volume on the people who love and care and support about you and turn down the volume on anything else. That's also not very succinct, but there you go.
That is a great place to end the conversation because it is you just don't know what tomorrow is going to hold. And I love that. Hold those that support and love you close and just let the rest of it go. Don't pay attention to it, ignore it, block it, do what you got to do, but it doesn't matter because
Mm,
those that love you and support you are the ones that will hold you on a pedestal and you will be your support mechanism
mm.
or going into the future.
Your community.
Man, yes, community. Amanda, how can our listeners work with Color Word Creative if they are interested in reaching out?
Yeah, absolutely. The easiest way is to go to our website. It's Color Word Creative. Sometimes people type in Color World. It's not Color World. That was a mistake on my end. I didn't know. I was a rookie. It's Color Word Creative because we do design and words. Colorwordcreative.com. And we have a free web scan that I personally do. So that's just the easiest way to do anything. And it's just type in your email or your URL, and then I do a web scan on your homepage, review your homepage, and just send you some quick, really low hanging fruit that you can adjust to make your homepage more effective. Listeners can email me, Amanda@colorwordcreative.com, whatever's easiest, call, text, it's all good.
That sounds fantastic, Amanda. It has been such a fantastic conversation today. And I want to encourage the listeners there is gold all over this podcast. This has been an amazing interview. Go back and listen. All of the books that Amanda listed will be in the show notes, along with her contact information and the link for her website. Definitely go check it out. She's got some amazing passion behind helping small business owners win, such as yourselves. And if this interview was interesting and you want to hear more interviews from the Small Business Podcast, hit this playlist right up here. Until next time.